There's a spiritual war and there's a physical war. If you win the spiritual war, it will reflect into the physical. I think our victory was because we won the spiritual war.
Welcome back, warriors. It's me, Linda B. Thank you all so much for joining me here today. So today we're going to talk about those demons. Demon rats went to El Salvador, but they got denied in epic fashion. Plus, I am going to show you something else that you are not going to want to miss. But before we get into it, don't forget to smash like, comment, share, subscribe, and I kindly ask that you watch the video to the very end. Now let's get into it. So we already know about Senator Chris Van Hollen of Maryland, who went down to El Salvador to try to bring back the alleged MS-13 gang member, Abrego Garcia. But you know, the president of El Salvador, Bukele, just denied him. And so another team of Democrats went down, 4 of them went down to try and, get this thing going to bring this so-called Maryland man back. So this is what we're going to be looking at right now. And here is one of the demon rats, talking about how they got denied. Let's watch.
What do you know? Is there any chance you'll be meeting with Abrego Garcia while you're there?
Well, we're actually about to do a press conference to speak a little bit about this, but we got word at the embassy that our request has been denied by the government here locally. They say it's because we're not here on an official capacity. This is part of the reason why Representative Robert Garcia and I sent a letter to Chairman Comer of the Oversight Committee asking for this to be an official CODEL. But we're not giving up. We're going to continue. We have more meetings scheduled for the rest of the day. But part of this, too, is making sure that we keep the conversation alive. We're building off of the trip of Senator Van Hollen, and we're not the first members here, and we're not going to be the last.
So there you heard it yourself. They're not the first people to get there, and they won't be the last. All right, and that was Demon Rat Maxwell Frost out of Florida. They're going to continue to see the Demon Rats are trying to make this a thing. They're trying to establish a narrative here. They're trying to use this situation with Abrego Garcia to say that we are for immigrants. We are for, he's a father, he's a husband or whatever. He's a great this and that. Even though he's alleged MS-13, even though he abused his wife allegedly, and all sorts of things, including allegedly human trafficking. Allegedly. Can't say that enough in these days and times. But you see, they were denied. See, I'm so far, don't know the president of El Salvador that well, Bukele. So far, he is got sense. Okay. And if his wife or I don't know quite if they're married or not, and child want to see him, can't they just go to El Salvador? I mean, I'm just saying, don't know their prisons there, don't know if they have conjugal visits, don't know anything about that. I'm pretty sure they're not as lenient as we are. But yeah, they could go there. But coming back here, and I don't know how much you guys know about MS-13, that gang. Stick around for what the president of El Salvador, Bukele, is going to give a brief history lesson on MS-13. But now let's check a little bit more about what these demons are up to. Let's take a look here. So we have House Democrats go to El Salvador for accused MS-13 gang member ignore migrant crimes in their states. They ignore migrant crimes in their states. So it's 4 of them. Okay, a group of House Democrats are traveling to El Salvador to demand the return of a deported illegal alien accused of MS-13 gang membership, domestic abuse, and human trafficking, while at the same time ignoring migrant crime in the states they represent. Representatives Robert Garcia, these are all Democrats, out of California, Maxwell Frost out of Florida, Yasmin Ansari out of Arizona, and Maxine Dexter of Oregon are following Senator Chris Van Hollen out of Maryland by traveling to El Salvador on Monday to demand that President Nayib Bukele release Kilmar Abrego Garcia, an illegal alien native of El Salvador who is accused of being an MS-13 gang member, beating his wife, and being involved in a human trafficking operation in the United States. So that is his wife. All right. So you see all the things that he's accused of, but yet We want him back. And I just got to say that I'm really disgusted with Senator Van Hollen and all of these demon rats, but particularly Van Hollen, because the woman, Rachel Morin, I believe that's what her name was. She was a young mother of 5. She was violated, okay, sexually and unalived in Maryland, a Maryland resident. And that man, Van Hollen, the senator out of Maryland, is spending more time and effort trying to get an accused man of all of these horrific crimes, trafficking, beating his wife, MS-13, trying to get him back into the United States when that happened on Maryland soil to Rachel Morin. Okay, so he has paid far less attention to Rachel Morin's grieving mother and her grieving children and other relatives and friends, people who knew her and cared about her. He should have been spending a lot of time over there in that direction rather than going to El Salvador, and now got other demon rats going to El Salvador, all with the intentions of bringing back, this Maryland man. And they don't even care about this man. Let me just be clear. They don't care about this man. They're using this situation for their own political purposes. Make no mistake about it. They know how violent MS-13 is. They don't care. They let these people over here in the first place. All right, so people can talk about, they have a right for a better life. We'll do it legally like the other people did. The main people who don't want illegal immigrants over here are legal immigrants. Okay, legal immigrants. I've heard from a couple saying, I did it this way and it took me this amount of years. For example, I was talking to the guy that did my nails one time. He said it took him, I believe he said 8 years. And then he said he did it the right way, the legal way. And he is a Trump supporter originally from Vietnam, but he is a legal citizen, not any gang ties, just a family man owning a nail shop with his lawful wife. Okay, so that's the kind of people we want. We want immigrants, but do it the right way. Again, I repeat, the people who are most against illegal immigration are the legal immigrants. If you talk to those that got here legally, they don't want that. They don't want that. I've seen videos of men on the man on the street style interview where they are talking to people like, I came here legally. I'm from Jamaica. I'm from China. I'm from wherever. They need to come here legally, do it like I did. And a lot of legal people who were born and raised here don't want them over here either. Do it the right way so you can be vetted, because what you get is a bunch of MS-13 and Tren de Aragua. Okay, I'm going to stop yakking my mouth. But here, we're just going to look at it. It continues to say Bukele, and that's the president of El Salvador, has already made it clear that Abrego Garcia will not be returned to the United States. President Donald Trump deported Abrego Garcia last month as part of 2 deportation flights filled with accused gang members from MS-13 and Tren de Aragua. Okay, can we be any more clear? Can we be any more clear? So I'm going to show you Bukele right now. He is talking about MS-13 with Tucker Carlson. And this is what the demons want. Of course, they would want this type of gang. Of course. Listen to what Bukele says about MS-13.
MS-13 is one of the major gangs.
And they are satanic also.
That was my question. So
Yes.
I hope you will explain it, because very little has been written in the West about this.
They're satanic.
But actually, literally,
Yeah.
Can you explain?
MS-13 started in Los Angeles in the US, but as the organization grew, they became satanic. They started doing satanic rituals. I don't know exactly when that started, but it's well documented.
Yes.
In our arrest, we've even found altars and things like that.
Yes, I've seen them. So human sacrifice was
Yes.
a part. So that's almost never described in English language press as clearly as you just described it.
No, which is weird.
Well, you sort of wonder why.
Yeah.
If there's a spiritual component that's driving it, why not just say so?
Yes.
But I guess my point is, you saw it as that.
Yes. Yes. Of course. There's a spiritual war and there's a physical war. If you win the spiritual war, it will reflect into the physical. I think our victory was because we won the spiritual war.
Wow, that was very powerful. And I say that no wonder the demon rats want this MS-13 is because of what Bukele, the president of El Salvador, just said. They are a satanic gang. They do satanic rituals. They do this. Okay, at some point, and you saw one of them had a tattoo 666. They do sacrifices and things like that. No wonder. This totally explains it. And I loved when he said, this is a spiritual and physical war. If we win the spiritual, we'll win the physical. And I've been telling you all, this is a spiritual battle. The demons, demon rats, sometimes I'm just going to call them demons. No wonder they like MS13. And you wonder why I call them demon rats. Well, there you go. That's why. That's just one of the many reasons why. You know, they love child sacrifice, right? Abortion. They love open borders. They don't love God. They love taking a parent's parental rights away from their children. The Democrat Party is very satanic, in my opinion. That's why I call them demons or demon rats. I just recently started calling them demons, but yeah. And the political parties, just in case you don't know or you're new to my channel, they never switched. Name a list of people from 60s and 70s and 80s that were once Democrats. There's only two, I think two, literally count them on one hand, that went from Democrat to Republican. So this big switch is a big lie. Demon rats trying to lie again and hide behind their racism, their hate of God and hate of America. That's them. But let's check out something else. Okay, I do want to read this to you. This is coming from the Congress of the United States House of Representatives, coming from the Honorable Robert Garcia, member of Congress. Dear Representatives Garcia and Frost, I write in response to your letter of April 15th requesting that I approve from the committee's budget official travel for you both to visit the country of El Salvador to meet with a foreign MS-13 gang member whose wife accused him of crimes and who is strongly suspected of human trafficking. It is absurd that you both displayed active hostility for over 2 years toward the committee's oversight of the Biden border crisis and the consequences of millions of illegal aliens entering the country. Yet now you are seeking travel at committee expense to meet with foreign gang members. You may be pleased to know that a Democrat Senator Chris Van Hollen was photographed just yesterday in El Salvador enjoying margaritas garnished with cherry slices with the foreign gang member your letter references. If you also wish to meet with him, you can spend your own money. But I will not approve a single dime of taxpayer funds for use on the excursion you have requested. Your request is denied. James Comer, chairman on the Oversight and Government Reform Committee. Well, gee, that was harsh and straight to the point. So yeah, they are being denied. Demons denied. Well, that's what they are up to, and they say they will not give up. So they're willing to double down on failed things, and they wonder why their approval ratings are so low. You guys, you just got to wonder. You can't make this stuff make sense. Thank you all so much for watching this video today. Don't forget to smash the like button, comment, share, subscribe, hit all notifications so that you never, ever miss a video that I post. You all be blessed. Love God, your families, these United States of America, and march on, warriors.